Hello and welcome to Beyond Basic Navigation. This is Kevin McGavro from KRM Development. So for this video, it's going to be I'm going to talk about these buttons up here and how this stuff works. Again, a lot of this stuff was in the other video, so I'm not going to get into too much detail, but here we'll start with the home button. And we've got the basic training and the initial setup. These are things that they didn't talk about there. So let's talk about initial setup first. So if we click that, it takes us back to this place where we can do a lot of things, right? Like link to your social media accounts. Okay, so if you don't remember where to do that, the initial setup is a great place to do that. And then if once you click all these and hit edit, you can click continue to basic training. And when you go to basic training, note that that's the first thing here. So we've got initial setup, and if we click that, we go back to basic training, and that's here. Right, and these are all great things that you can use if you click them. Right, you click one of these, and it takes you to places where it'll send you, it'll give you walkthroughs on how to do all the different things. Right, so some of them have videos, some of them have the Walk Me, and then you can do the walkthroughs through it, and it'll point you into all the places where you can do the things. So, for example, if I click here, right, it walks me through here, and it lets me do that. This is step 1 of 3, so I can show you 3 different steps on doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of that. So that is here, and you'll note that here under My Nav, the first things are basic training and initial setup, dashboard, and My Day. And if you notice here, right, you've got the same things here. Okay. And again, the initial video goes over My Day, calendar, and tasks, so we don't need to do that. But this inbox, nobody really talks about this, but this is kind of interesting. One of the hidden secrets of Infusionsoft is that it does actually have an email client. I've never heard anybody recommend it, and primarily I think that's because Infusionsoft is, it's bread and butter, and its strength is sending out emails and marketing, not necessarily managing emails. So, but it is there, and there'll be some other settings later on that we'll get to that will kind of touch on that fact. And then this files, all right, now talking about files now isn't like necessarily a great time or place to start talking about files, but this is here, and later on when you're trying to manage your files, images, and things to attach to emails, you're going to need to know where this is. And so you can hit the Files button, and this will take you to this page where it says My Files. So these are just general files. And again, by files, it could be an Excel spreadsheet. It could be a Word document, a PDF. It could be whatever. But these are just general files that you keep in Infusionsoft for you on this one. Company files, these are things where you put them in here so that you can upload them into an email. So if you want to send an email and you want to use the file widget or file snippet, so you pull the file snippet in, this is a place where you can manage those files. So when you're in the email builder and you pull in a file, let's say that when you pull the file in from your computer and it has a name on it that you don't necessarily like, but you want to keep that name in the computer, when you upload it into Infusionsoft, it gives you the same name that it was in your computer. So you can come over here and click rename and actually rename the file in Infusionsoft, which is kind of nice, so that when you get into the email, the file name that the customer is going to see when they get the email will be something better. And you can obviously delete files as well. And then you've got company images. So anytime you want to put an image into an email, right, you have to upload the image into Infusionsoft first. And this is where all those files live. This is where the images live. This is where the files live. Again, we can rename them. We can do whatever we want to do with them here. And then finally, we've got digital products. So if you sell digital products, you can have those digital products here. This is where you can upload them. All right. So that is for files. Okay. Now over here, right, these are just recently viewed things. So things that you've recently viewed. You've got contacts. You can view opportunities, and you can also see that you've got campaigns in here as well. So you got lots of different things that you can that you can have in this list, which is nice. So, and it's automatic. It just follows you along and tags the things that you've been looking at. Now this favorites thing here. These are external websites. So if you click the little things here, it'll show you that you've got different websites. So let's say that when you're in Infusionsoft, whoops, okay. just hover. When you click it, it takes you actually to the favorites. It takes you to this page, which is actually the edit page. So if you click edit, or if you just click the star, it takes you to the same page. But here, if we click here, let's say that you use Basecamp a lot while you're working. So you could just click, if you've got that link there, you can just come up here, click it, and it'll automatically take you to Basecamp. You can log in and do whatever it is that you have to do there. And so here, if you wanted to add a new one, right, and you can move these up or down, and note that it's got My Links and you've got Video Prod. When I come here, right, you've got My Links and Video Prod. And so if I add a new one, I can walk through here and I've got My Links and Video Prod, right? So I can put it in either one of those. Or if I want to create a brand new one, I can stick that right here. So default, it starts with Video Links. I added Video Prod just by typing in here. Then you put the URL that you want it to go to, you give it a name, and you say if you want to open it in this window or another window, right? And so generally speaking, I don't want to leave my Infusionsoft session, so I usually pick a new window. And then if I don't choose anything here, then that only saves it for me. If I do choose somebody else here, like everyone or somebody else, then it will save it for those other people as well. Okay, so let's go back and we'll look at one that I've already made. Okay, so here you can see it, right? So the name is this, and that's ultimately what shows up here. Okay, so the name is what shows up here, but the link is, that's where it goes, and so on and so forth. So that is that. Now if we go to the next link here, so they've got the products and services. This actually will take you to the Infusionsoft Marketplace, and all of these actually do. So let's go ahead and just kind of click one of these. As you can see, it opens up a new tab. And here it takes you to all Infusionsoft apps, right? So that we're in the marketplace. You've got apps here, and that's kind of where it defaults to, is Infusionsoft apps. But if we hit the category, we can get apps, consultants, developers, campaigns, and we've got different categories here, right? E-commerce, email, right? All these different kinds of things, right? Data entry, and then here we've got relevance based on the search, right? So you can kind of, is it most popular, newest, all these kind of things. And when we're talking about apps, some of them have prices, some of them don't. You know, some of them are obviously, some people are consultants, so their prices are going to be completely different. But that's kind of what you have here. And again, you have the same links here. So if we go back to Infusionsoft, right, that was if we clicked the products and services, but if we click developers, again, it takes us to the same place. Just instead of going to, you know, the apps or the Infusionsoft, it actually takes us to the developers tab, right? So you notice that one's there. So that is how that button works. And so finally, let's go to, I'm gonna skip this one for a second. We'll come back to this. But then I want to come to the Help Center, or the question mark. And here, it could take you to the Help Center. So again, if we click that, it'll take us to the Help Center. And here we can search for different things that we need to do, right? And it says favorite links because that is, you know, the page that I'm on, right? I'm on the favorite links info. So it knows that, and it actually puts a search in there for favorite links. So it's trying to make it much faster for us. Then we could submit a support case if we needed to. And here, that will just let us put in a support case that will go straight to Infusionsoft support team, and somebody on the support team will read what you've put in there, and they'll respond to you via email, the email that you were logged in as. And finally here, like if chat was available, they would you'd go ahead and click on there, and they would you'd be allowed to chat. And right now, I think chat is on the weekends, and 24/7. But if there's a ton of people, if the wait is like 20 minutes or longer, then it goes to red, so it won't be available, just because they don't want you to get in there and then wait for 20 minutes. So that is how that works. And so then we also have the search, okay? And as we saw in the other video, you can search, and you've got other things that you can search. You can search for opportunities, you can search orders, subscriptions, right? Lots of things that you could search for. and there are ways that we can actually take, let's say, opportunities, right? Right now it says find an opportunity, and we can make that the default thing that we search for, okay? And I'll show you that in a minute. So that way, next time you come in here, you log in, you go away, or whatever, you do a search. When you come back, right, this will always be at opportunities or always be at orders instead of contacts. So I'll show you how to make that default. And then obviously here you've got a quick way to add contacts, okay? So let's go back to this whole, how do we change the default in here? And the way that we do that is going to be in here. There's lots of things that we could do here. So this is you know, the app that you're in and the other app accounts that you have access to. Over here we have, you know, edit my profile, manage accounts, and log out. Log out's pretty obvious. Manage accounts, this is actually going to looking at, again, the apps that you have access to. So let's go back here again. And the way that it does that, right? So it shows you, whoops, sorry, exactly what's in here is what you'll see here in Manage Accounts. So let's go to the Edit Profile. There's a ton of stuff in Edit the Profile, okay? So here we can edit the name, right? We just click Edit, we can edit what's in there. We've got all the company and regular demographic information. Down here we've got follow-up sequences. So if we wanted to add this user to a follow-up sequence, right? So somebody who's using your Infusionsoft, you want to add them to a follow-up sequence. Let's say that you've got some type of training thing set up. We can add them to a legacy follow-up sequence, okay? And again, so all this is like, you know, this follow-up sequence thing, this is all legacy stuff, okay? So if you're using Campaign Builder and all that kind of good stuff, then, you know, you don't have to worry about this legacy stuff at all. Here, social accounts, this doesn't allow you to edit them. It just, well, you can add them. So it'll allow you to add them, and it will also show you which ones are there. Okay, so you can add them and edit them. Okay, so in these social accounts, it'll allow you to add new social accounts, Facebook and Twitter. It'll allow you to edit them. It'll allow you to do all those things here. Then we've got mail accounts. So like we showed you before, the inbox, if you wanted to add a new pop account, right, you could do that here. And then plugins, right, there are a couple of plugins that you can add in here. So this is kind of a way to manage your plugins, okay? So down here, all this stuff stays pretty static. You know, you kind of set it up once. Then let's go through these up here. Okay? So we've got the general, is pretty easy. Let's go to preferences. Preferences, there's a lot of things that happen in preferences. One of the things that we were talking about here is the default search type, right? So default, this is this here, right, where it says find contacts. So its default search is contacts. If we wanted it to be company or tasks or opportunities or orders, right, we could just select one of those, okay? If we select opportunities and hit save, right, now it automatically says find an opportunity. And I come back here and I change it back to contacts and save. All right, now it's find a contact. Okay. So here where it says default tab for second row. All right, this is on the contact record. And so let's show you what that means. If we go to a contact, okay, so I'll go to my contact record here. If we scroll down, you'll see that we've got the second row of tabs. Okay, and on the second row of tabs, right, there's lots of tabs here, and it defaults to task. Okay, and on the task one, we've got tasks. You can add a task, appointments, notes, you know, any forms that were filled out, and you see all the emails that have been sent out recently. So that's what you have there. But maybe, you know, some of these other ones might be more important to you. So if we come back here, we can change that to any of these other ones. Okay, so we can make it campaigns, orders, opportunities, and then when you go into the contact record, right, opportunities will be the first thing that show up. So now if I come over here to the contact record and scroll down, you'll see that the Opportunities tab is now the one that's highlighted as opposed to the Task tab, just automatically. So those are some other things that you can change around here in Preferences. Okay, and then down here, we can also change the home page. That when you hit this little home button, you can change what page that goes to. And the way that you do that is you just go to the page that you want it to go to. Okay, so let me close this. And let's say I want the campaign builder to be my home page. Whenever I hit home, I want it to come to this campaign builder. So what I would do is I would take everything after .com, I would copy that, okay, and then I would paste that right in here. Okay, so I paste that in there, and I put to custom, and that will set it up to where after I hit save. Okay, whenever I hit the home button, it'll take me to the campaign builder, right? So it takes me to the list of the campaign builder. So that is how that works. So let's go back to preferences, okay? And so I can go to Infusionsoft training, right? The basic training thing. I can have it to the top thing in the My Nav, okay? So we go to My Nav, whatever the top thing is here, right? In this case, basic training. But you can obviously hit edit and put other things there and rearrange that. So you can say whatever is in the top link in My Nav. You can have it go to the dashboard, which is what I prefer, or you can have it to go to a custom URL, whatever you want inside Infusionsoft, just by adding the URL minus the Infusionsoft part. Okay. Then we've got the interactive view, right? The default searched view. So that says when we go searching for, let's say, opportunities or contacts or anything like that, that the default view is going to be this interactive view. In the interactive view, the reason it's interactive is because I can click in here and edit stuff as I go. And I also have all these tabs down here. So if I need to add a tag to a person, I can add a tag. If I need to create an appointment, I can create an appointment. If I want to see the emails, tasks, notes, fill out a form, right? You see what happens here. So you've got a lot more options. You've got lots of things that you can do here. So this is called the interactive view list. Okay. So I've got lots of other opportunities down here, a whole list of opportunities. Now this is, if I click this funny little button over here, that will change it to the list view. So what this is showing us is that we could either say that we want our default search to either be interactive or grid. Okay, this signature at the top of the reply, again, that is if you're using the Infusionsoft email client. And then calendar options, right? These are pretty self-explanatory here. Now let's go to signature. Okay, so if we want to edit our signature, the first one here that says text signature, this is the signature for plain text emails only. And then down here is the signature for all HTML emails, right? So all the emails that are going through the campaign builder, right? These are all HTML emails. So this is the signature that you would use for those. And you click here to edit. It takes you to a WYSIWYG editor. So you can add images, right? You can do all kinds of things, or you can even use HTML. So if you built this somewhere else and it looked really nice and you like the way it is, you could just save the HTML code, come over here and paste the HTML code right into here. Okay, so that's how you work with signatures. Then notes. Okay, you can kind of leave notes on the contact's record. Or I'm sorry, not contact, on the user's record, right? So these are just notes that you can put in there. And then finally, we've got user groups. And this is a really important piece when it comes to playing with users, is that it allows you to change the user groups. So for example, you can add new ones in other places under admin or whatever, but if you make somebody an admin, this is the most important one. If you make somebody an admin, you put them in the admin user group, then that means that they've got no restrictions on what they can do inside Infusionsoft. They can do whatever they want, anywhere, like pretty much anything that you can do, they can do inside Infusionsoft. They can change anything that's editable, they can edit. All right, and so that's what an admin does. So if you don't want them to have those privileges, then you can choose any of these other ones, and then you can edit those permissions. One thing to also know is that by default, if you want to be able to assign opportunities to someone, then you need to make sure that they are either a sales rep or a sales manager. Those are the only ones that can by default get assigned opportunities. Okay, so they have to be a sales rep. If they are a sales manager, right, you also want to make sure they're in both groups, sales rep and sales manager. And if they're a sales rep, then just put them in sales rep. Then once you actually put somebody into a group, you can then go in and edit their permissions, again, unless they're an admin. If they're an admin, then they have access to everything. But if they're not an admin, then you would go in and edit their permissions. There are a ton of permissions in here. I'm not going to go through them all. I'll just kind of show them to you very quickly. So here you've got permissions with contacts. You know, they can reassign a contact, they can add a contact, they can, you know, add notes on contacts, or they can use note templates. All right, and then you've got company records, you've got opportunity records, you've got referrals or referral partner records. And so all these just kind of show you all the different things that they can do, right? This one is for the whole application, right? These are things that they can do with your Infusionsoft application. And you know, these are different permissions that they could have with other users in Infusionsoft. So you can come in here and edit lots of these permissions. And here, right, you can say you're currently viewing permissions for, you know, this particular user. And if you've got another user, you can go in and actually hit copy permissions from another user. So you say, you know, I want to copy permissions from this guy, and then you hit submit, and that will copy the permissions over from that person to this person. So they'll both have the same permissions. You can also edit the global permissions as well. And in this case, you can see that everything says yes is admin, yes is admin. Right? That's just there to let you know that, you know, it's, you know, that's really your only option. Right? I can't, like when I click on it, nothing happens. There should be a drop down there that says yes, no, and then there's another one that says global. So it says yes, no, global, yes, or yes, no, global, no. But because I'm an admin, right, it says yes. So that's how that works. Okay, so finally, the last thing to know about users and how we set all this up is I'm actually going to go to users, admin users, and look at a different user. So if we look at a different user, you'll see that we've got this new button in here now that says deactivate. So if you're an admin, you've got privileges to deactivate another user. And so that is how you would deactivate a user if you wanted to open up another user license, or you just didn't want to, you wanted to take away access to another user. So that is the Beyond Basics navigation just for this top toolbar up here. The next video, we'll be going through the CRM section. All right, we'll see you there.